What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Six Man Blitz. We got a great guest with us today, Zack Pearson. Today, he's been on the podcast before. This is his second time returning guest. Thank you for coming on. We know you're a busy man, seeing the practices and stuff. Bears reporter is doing his thing, keeping you guys updated with the Bears news. Before we got on, he said it was a bad day today, but we're gonna cover it. How are we doing today?
I'm doing good. Yeah, like you said, man, it's been a busy past 2.5 weeks or so. Get a little bit of a break before the preseason game, and next week is joint practices in Indianapolis. That should be fun. But yeah, man, living life. I'm ready for some football. I'm ready for it to be kind of fall season. I'm a big fall guy, so that's approaching here.
This weather, it's not too cold, but it's not too hot. It's a great mixture in the fall.
Yeah, for sure.
But he's a big family man, so he's gonna be going to pumpkin patch and stuff. So fall's the perfect time.
Yeah,
he's gonna miss no games.
Yeah, but I'm not there.
Let's get right into it though. So you were at the practice today. How was the practice today? And give us your thoughts and feedback.
Yeah, it was a little bit disappointing in terms of the offense. They usually it's pretty up and down. They got off to a good start in camp in general. The pads came on, they struggled. Today was just, I don't know. I did not come away encouraged. Matt Eberflus kind of got a little upset during practice. There was a lot of penalties, holdings, false starts. The offense just wasn't moving the ball much at all. The one thing I really noticed, and I will say this, they were missing Nate Davis. They were missing Lucas Patrick. So essentially they're down to their third string right guard. And there was just pressure almost all the time in Justin Fields' face. Gervon Dexter got back there. Rasheem Green got back there. Dominic Robinson got back there. There was a time, and I've seen this about probably the third time I've seen this in camp, where an offensive lineman was actually facing Justin Fields while he was blocking, and that's not going to work. Yeah, you don't want to see that. The other time I saw it, I forgot who it was too, but the other one was a tight end. So I've seen it about 3 times in camp. Not a good showing today. But I will note the Bears are working on a lot of situational stuff. Sure. So they're looking at high red zone stuff, third downs, backed up in your own, inside the 10. Let's get a first down and let's get some room for a punter to punt. Right. Starting off at the 50, things like that. So it's not a time to panic. I do think when you see him in games and preseason games first, it's just, I just really wasn't encouraged by the offense. The defense looked pretty good. So that's an encouraging sign.
That's good though for the defense to have some good days, because I know seeing your feedback on Twitter, some other Bears reporters, defensively, there's been some guys, Terrell Lewis, there's some buzz on him. You mentioned Dexter. So what are some of those defensive guys that have been really encouraging for you to see on days like this where the offense is struggling?
Yeah, speaking just for the entire camp, Kyler Gordon, and then when he was out there, Jaquan Brisker have probably been the 2 best defensive players on the field. Brisker's been hurt a little bit here, but missed, I want to say he's up to 5 or 6 practices that he's missed. But those 2 have probably been the best in my eyes. Looking at others, I think Jalen Johnson's had a solid camp. Eddie Jackson kind of looks like himself like he did last year. Gervon Dexter has been a little surprising. I do still think there's a lot of work to be done. I mean, it's not like he's going to come in and just fully dominate just yet. He's looked encouraging. The rookie I really like, and I think is actually going to win this job, is Noah Sewell, who's battling Jack Sanborn to Sam linebacker.
Sanborn, that's crazy. I've been seeing
yeah.
Too.
Yeah. No, I mean, he's he's had good practices more often than not. It doesn't really help Sanborn's case that he's been hurt, and it's not his fault. But Sewell's been getting a lot of the first team reps, which is really good for him coming out of Oregon. And I think if he would have came out 2 years, so 2 drafts ago, he probably would have been a low second round, late first round, maybe.
Really?
It's just a different scheme that they had this year really didn't help them out there with Dan Lanning out there in Eugene. So he's been kind of standing out to me. Yeah, it's just been all around solid. I think we're going to see a little bit of a better defense for the Bears coming up.
So looking at obviously last year ranks one of the worst, if not the worst, from a pass rush perspective.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is attributed to getting older guys off the books. But looking into the last 2 to 3 weeks of camp, do you feel like that has ramped up? And then obviously the Yannick Ngakoue signing is huge. But aside from him, do you feel like the pass rush group has gotten better year over year?
I think so, but it's not hard because they were just so bad last year. I mean, we're talking like dead last in sacks. I think they had 21 sacks in a 17-game season, which is yikes. Actually, I want to say Roquan Smith was still top 5 in sacks for them. Brisker was one of the guys that had the most sacks. Jack Sanborn had a lot of sacks. Yeah, I think they're going to be a little better. I think the guy that should benefit the most from Yannick Ngakoue signing is DeMarcus Walker. Like when the Bears signed him in March, it was okay. Like, all right, you're an edge guy now. Like, go out there and get the pass rush, go out there and get the quarterback. Now you sign Yannick, you're like, okay, now defensive sets will count for him. Maybe they can free some stuff up from DeMarcus Walker. Justin Jones will probably benefit from it. Rasheem Green's had a good camp. Dominic Robinson's been solid the past couple days, so they've ramped it up a little bit with the pass rush. They still, it's even though it's pads, it's like they can pass rush, but it's not quote unquote live. You're not tackling.
Right, it's hard
not
without getting after the quarterback.
Can't put
yeah, you can't put them on the ground. Like they do call sacks sometimes. They'll blow the whistle, but like yesterday is a good example in my eyes. Like I think it was Noah Sewell and Robinson came off the edge. They probably would have sacked most quarterbacks in this league. I think it's hard to judge Justin Fields because like he can take off and he's done this. To me, that's a sack. They didn't blow it dead because it's training camp. They wanted to roll on. So, but I mean, yeah, they're getting some pressure. I just don't know if it's them being better or is it the offensive line maybe struggling? Like that's the hardest part to tell with it. I'm not an O-line, D-line expert. I won't say I am. I do think the one-on-ones are the most fun to watch. Like all the one-on-ones everyone talks about on Twitter are the wide receiver, DB, like all that stuff. I love when they put the pads on and it's lineman against lineman. Right. And you have to, those are fun.
King of the Hill.
So it's been kind of and it's been kind of a mixed bag. Defense has won good majority of the days. Offensive line has won a good majority of the days. So they should be better though.
That's crazy though, because like you think about this offseason, all the additions we added to this offense, DJ Moore, you're like expecting the offense to get the better the defense most days. But so with these concerns, injuries, like how do we feel about this offensive line? You said it's defense. Are you concerned or buddy or?
After today, I was just a little concerned. At the same time, though, it's if they come out against Tennessee and they're just giving up pressures left and right, I would start to like get creeping to the panic button. I think next week going up against the Colts defense will be a really good test. Yeah. It's joint practices. They're going to be going. I mean, the pads are going to be on, and then we'll see in the preseason game. That middle preseason game is probably a good indication. So what I'm more concerned about is the continuity of the offensive line, and specifically with Darnell Wright and Nate Davis. Nate Davis has not really been there. I mean, he missed OTAs, was there for a little mini camp, started off training camp, got hurt, came back for a day without pads, missed the last 2 days. It's a lot easier for Darnell Wright, a rookie on the right side, to look over at Nate Davis, who's been a veteran at right guard, and get feedback in the middle of the game, in the huddle. Like Nate Davis can, hey, this is your protection. This guy kicks inside. You have to do this. You have to do that. Get your hands set. Get your feet set. It's harder if he's looking at Ja'Tari Carter. Nothing against him. He's a second year offensive lineman that was pretty much drafted for depth. Like we're not expecting to start. It's a lot different for Darnell Wright to look over at Ja'Tari Carter and be like, what am I doing wrong? Like even Lucas Patrick, who's been here, but he's a veteran. It's still different. Like you'd want that. So yeah, the continuity is the difference for me. I think Tevin and Braxton have kind of got it down a little bit. I think they kind of feed off their own, each other's energy. Cody's a staple up the middle. I think he'll be fine. It's just that right side. If they can't get that right side locked down, that's not saying Darnell Wright's a bust or anything like that. It's going to take him a little time to get in this, So, and he's going to face some good pass rushes early on.
Oh, yeah. Have you been impressed with Darnell Wright's first month or so in the position, especially with the pads on now?
Yeah, I think he's getting better as the days go on. He's strong. Like those one-on-one drills, I mean, he's strong. I like watching him in those. He had a play. Yeah, and he plays with, we all say Tevin plays with that energy, like that mean. Darnell is like, he's so like I've talked to him a couple times in not private, but 1-on-5 settings, and he's like soft spoken, but like you can tell he's got that that when he needs to turn it on, all right, he can be, a badass on the line. He put someone into the ground the other day. I forgot who it was. Either yesterday or today. All these days. I'm sorry if I say what they all blend together for me. It's crazy.
We're not your busy schedule.
No, it's crazy. Like I have my kids too, so I'm like I'm usually up with him in the middle of the night when he wakes up. I'm up early with him. The days are just days to me now. So to answer your question, yeah, I think Darnell's getting better. Today he had a false start on a key play. They've been 4th and inches. They tried running up the middle with Donta Foreman and Wright jumped, and you could tell he knew he jumped. And guess what? You want that to happen right now. Right. You don't want that week 1. They're up 3. They're down 3 against Green Bay. The ball's at the Green Bay 20. It's 4th and inches, and Darnell Wright's turns it into a field goal or a punting situation. You want it to happen now. So I'm encouraged with what I see by him so far.
Sure. Now, you talked a little about the secondary, Kyler Gordon, Dylan Johnson. Now there's cornerback 2 competition, Terrell Smith and Tyreek Stevenson. I've been hearing buzz about Smith. I think Jacob played with him at Minnesota, and he, said good things about him too. Coming into, that battle, what do you think about those two? And are you encouraged about them? Because, 2 young guys competing for that position.
Yeah. So going into camp, I thought it was Tyreek Stevenson's not to lose, but I thought he probably had the edge. I thought, maybe Kendall Vildor could have taken it from him. Mm-hmm. Maybe a long shot, someone like Greg Stroman or Josh Blackwell. But Terrell Smith, he's come on. I mean, he's been good. He's been out the past couple of days, which is unfortunate. That leads to Stevenson getting, more reps. But I think either one of them are, could come in, slot in right there at DB2 opposite of Jalen and play fine. With Terrell, man, he's fast. He is so fast. Like I knew about his track and field and running background, but man, he is you see that speed, it's crazy quick. So I like the competition between those two. I do think Tyreek will probably win it in the end. And then we'll see Terrell kind of, slot in there probably DB 3 or 4, battling someone like Josh Blackwell or Stroman. So far, it's been encouraging. They both have made plays. And the good news about it is they both have had reps against someone like DJ Moore. They both have had reps against Darnell Mooney.
Just that speed.
Yeah. And it's good too. You want them going against those guys. You don't necessarily want them and nothing yet. But guys aren't going to make the roster. I mean, it might help them a little better. But when they're going against DJ Moore and they're learning, okay, DJ did this, DJ did that. That's right. That's very valuable, especially when you get to the regular season.
Yeah, last year would have been tough. They would have been going against Pettis.
A lot. No disrespect to those guys. It's different. It's different seeing DJ Moore out there like that.
Awesome. Leading into that, how have you liked the DJ Moore Justin Fields connection? Do you feel like
a lot of buzz about
that's gonna? And a lot of people in the mainstream media have compared that kind of addition to what the Eagles been able to do with AJ Brown and what the Bills have been able to do. Do you feel like the camp is showing that type of situation for us and Bears fans?
I think so. I think now you're looking at like an offense where Justin Fields is a target who, okay, like if you're in trouble, let's throw it up, give my wide receiver a chance to make a play. Justin Fields really hasn't had that. Like even his rookie year, Allen Robinson wasn't healthy. He kind of was just not Allen Robinson that we've seen.
Yeah.
So now he's got that guy. Like he's got a guy that can go up and make a play. We've seen that plenty of times. Like those two have been on the same page since we got to watch practice back in April, May. Like he's been the favorite target. He's been the go-to target. It's been short. It's been intermediate. It's been over the middle. It's been slants. It's been medium throws. It's been deep throws. It's been pretty much everything. And more, he's just so impressive with his route running. Like watching him in the one-on-ones or 7-on-7s, he's so crisp with his routes. He's in and out of his breaks. Like he is just, it's impressive. Like I've been fortunate enough to cover, Allen Robinson when he was here. I thought was incredible when I watched him. I was fortunate enough to be able to see Brandon Marshall, Alshon Jeffrey, and like DJ Moore he's got like that. Like he's got that type of route running, that type of wow. Like you just see it. Like the other throw today, Fields was a little late on. It was a little over the middle, and Moore just kind of like not fully reached back and grabbed it, but just kind of just. It was like probably a yard behind him and kind of turned and made the catch. And you're like, oh, wow, okay. Like he can bail out a bad throw if there are any. So, yeah, I like the connection. I'm curious to see what they do opposite of Moore, if it's Claypool, if it's Mooney, who's going to get the attention, if Moore's getting double teams or if Moore's getting, safety help. So, yeah, I think Moore, he should make Justin Fields better. He should make Darnell Mooney better. He should make Chase Claypool better. He should make everyone around him better.
Like to see that, like the weapons now, like these kind of receivers. I mean, even Claypool, he's having a great camp. What are your thoughts about him so far in the camp?
Yeah, he's been better than I thought he would. It's hard because like the off season, everyone like ragged down. They saw him in Paris. They saw him doing the fashion stuff.
Yeah,
yeah. It's crazy. Like we have to also remember, it's like they're human beings too, and they got to do their stuff. But like he was at the practices, he was working out with Justin. I guess the biggest thing for him is like he's got to stay healthy. He's hurt. He pulled his hammy yesterday on Wednesday. Doing a one-on, wide receivers DB. Other than that, he's been good. I mean, he hasn't. I wouldn't say like he's been dominating where it's like we saw, when I first saw Allen Robinson here, or first saw Brandon Marshall here, just absolute or DJ Moore. Like he's been good. He's been really good, and he's been consistent. He's caught a lot of passes. Route running looks good. His hands look good. He just got to stay healthy. And we talk about Justin Fields. We heard Justin Fields say like he wants more guys to be vocal in that offense. And I'll say this, in camp, you hear the entire defense. You hear all the defensive coaches. You hear the entire defense. Really from the offense, you hear Chase Claypool, and that's pretty much it. I mean, there's some guys you hear here and there. Chase Claypool is very vocal, and he's kind of got like that quote unquote like swagger to him a little bit where he's going to let you know if he made a play on you. And I think they need that to an extent, but we've heard, Luke Getzey said today, like, you don't want to get penalized for it.
Right.
Matt, even
play he had, where in Pittsburgh where he like put the ball down. No, he was celebrating.
Yeah, you gotta avoid that.
Yeah,
was that like the clock was like running down? They had
the clock was running down.
2-minute drill, and as opposed to putting the ball where they're up and get it and get started for the next play, he's showed stuff. Celebrating the first down. So
I think didn't Juju do like something like, didn't he like dance after a play?
they both were
probably related. Hopefully,
none of that. They can't have that here.
I mean, looking at the receiving core as a whole, have we seen Darnell Mooney kind of go back to maybe not last year's performance, but the year before that, having 1,000 yards receiving? Everybody knows he's a stud. Do you feel like he's been able to benefit from the DJ Moore addition in camp? I know we have a small sample size.
A little bit. I mean, he's getting there. Like they ramped him up the first couple of days, and it's kept going on. He's gotten better. You see the route running is like what we saw the 2021 season where he had 1,000 yards and he was breaking out. And what we all hoped we should have saw or, wanted to see last year. Mm-hmm. I think, it's going to take some time for him. I mean, the injury he came back from is it's not easy. Like yeah, you're out there running and stuff, but you're probably got in the back of your head at times. So yeah, I do think, when he's getting matched up, when he's in the slot or he's in the outside, he's matched up against DB2 or he's matched up against a nickel, he should win those more often than not. I do like how they've kind of used him in camp, like slant over the middle, not a ton of like deep shots or anything like that. I think he's kind of like perfect for like that short underneath quick stuff.
Yeah.
Get him the ball, let him get in open space, boom, take off. So I do think we'll start seeing that a little more. I'm just curious how much he's going to play in the preseason. I think he's kind of one of those guys who are like on the fringe, like, okay, like, do we want to fully put him out there in a game just yet? Do we give him a couple plays? Maybe against Tennessee, they give him a couple plays and he's running blocking, or he's not running like, he's running a basic route. Maybe we don't target him. Let's just see, like, ramp him up. Maybe against Indy, he starts to kind of get out. So I guess, what I'm trying to, like, I wouldn't be shocked if he starts off slow this year. I wouldn't be shocked if he picks it back up. I think it's up to him. Like, he's going to have to be the one to go out there and prove that.
Yeah. So out of the two, though, I did a video about this little YouTube short. Which one do you think will have the most receiving yards? Claypool, he's been going crazy. Darnell Mooney has had a 1,000-yard season. Who will have the most receiving yards this year, you think?
Oh, man, that's tough. I feel like I think everyone would pick Darnell Mooney. I'll be different. I think it's going to be Chase Claypool. And I'll say this. I think it's going to be Claypool, and I think he's going to have a nice year. I don't think he's going to get extended, though. Like, I don't think the Bears are going to extend him unless he really, really, like, has a big year. I don't know. I think Mooney is probably more likely to get an extension of the two, but I do think Claypool will probably have more yards. I think if Claypool like really, locks in this whole offseason, has been with the Bears. He's, first full offseason here. If he really locks in, he can be that wide receiver that we saw him be, like, his first 2 years in the league where he was pretty good. He had all the hype coming out of Notre Dame. So yeah, I'll say Claypool.
Okay. For me, I think Claypool has maybe more touchdowns, Mooney more yards.
Okay, I can see that too.
Obviously, the size thing for the red zone. They tried that last year when they first traded for him, like a few jump balls, didn't work out. But
Dolphins.
Moving down to the running back group, obviously we decided to move past David Montgomery, but we added some nice pieces. I think Roschon Johnson is one of my favorite. Low tread on the tires, can do everything you need, and he's huge. Reminds me a lot of Matt Forte, kind of. Out of that running back group, who do you see getting the lion's share of the carries, also snaps, and then where do you see Roschon adding to that as well as Deontay Foreman?
Man, it's tough. I can't get a read on this at all. And, it's hard because, like, I've been asked this before, and my Twitter mentions are, like, filled with fantasy football players, like, trying to figure this out. Yeah. And then I play fantasy football, and I'm trying to figure out myself. Like, I have no idea because it's like one day Khalil Herbert will be running back one. The next day it's Donta Foreman being running back one. And I don't know, like, Matt Eberflus and the staff pretty much, without fully saying it, pretty much said, okay, like, Herbert's going to be running back one coming into training camp. To me, I don't know if he's done enough to solely win that job and, like, take carries away from Donta Foreman. I think, honestly, the best way I can answer this, and I've answered it this way before, is I think it's going to be game by game and who the game plan is, who we're against, all that stuff. I think, like, there could be a week where it's a lot more Khalil Herbert, and then the next week it's a lot more Donta Foreman. Then we mix in John Johnson a little bit. Or, it could be one week they're just split. Like, Foreman has 10, Herbert has 11, and then Roschon has 3 or 4. Maybe Homer gets a carry. Because I do think Homer will probably be a third down back.
That's
special teams as well. And Homer's probably one of their better third down backs. I do think Roschon's probably their best pass protector, and I think that's another key as well. Like, the Bears have not been quiet about that. They've been very vocal about saying we need someone that can pass protect at that spot. And unfortunately, I think that's Herbert's worst attribute. I don't think he's very good at it. I know he's working to get better. But I think Roshan's probably one of their better ones. I think Foreman's pretty good at it. Yeah, it kind of reminds me in a way of like the Patriots the last couple of years where they've had like Rex Burkhead, Damian Harris, Stevenson, and they've had just numerous guys every game at the running back position. You're like, who do I play this week? And who do I don't know. I'm on record. I think Roshan has a chance to take over that starting job midseason. I just don't know. They're just like, even like, I've been surprised that Tristan Ebner's been getting some run with the first team and second. And he's got touchdowns in back-to-back practices now. He had a burning 70-yard run on Wednesday. Like, they've all made highlights.
Yeah. Now, with the running back by committee, all the backs we have that can do different things well. How do you think that impacts Justin Fields potentially having 1,000 yards rushing? Do you think he can do that again, or what are your thoughts on that?
I think he's got the ability to. I don't think I want him to get there because I think that means he's not going to be like a 3,000-yard passer or anything like that. I think it'd be really hard for him to have 3,500 and 1,000 rushing. That would be an insane season. Like, did Lamar do that in his MVP year? I don't know how many passing yards Lamar had, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I do think the Bears really want to run the ball. I think they want to come out and run the ball first, and they want to get a lead. Yeah, and they want to get a lead, and they want to run it down your throat. And I think having all these guys that should tell us that. Like, they have Khalil Herbert, they have Dr. Foreman, they have Roshan Johnson, Travis Homer, Tristan Ebner if he makes the team. So yeah, I don't know. I think the Bears. I think it'd be dumb to tell Justin Fields, you can't run, don't run. Like, we need to throw it out, because you don't tell a superstar or star, a guy has that type of ability. Yeah, we don't want you to do that. I do think they're telling them, let's get to the progressions, let's get to the reads, ball out quick. If you have to make a play, or if you see the line parting and you need to take off, take off. But yeah, I think I'll hamper him a little bit. I mean, I don't know. I'd be a little shocked if he got to 1,000 yards again. But that's also me thinking that he takes a step forward in the passing game.
Yeah. So, yeah, he gets that 4,000 passes then. You're leaning more towards that then, or?
Yeah, I would say like 32-ish would be I think that'd be a good season for him. Honestly.
Oh, yeah,
like,
for sure.
If he shows like, all right, I'm going to my first read, my second read, my third read, I'm making the progressions, I'm making the checks, I'm picking up the blitzes, I'm finding guys, taking the check downs, and he gets like, even if he gets to 3,000, I think that's a pretty solid year.
For sure. No question. So, moving on to the tight end group, you obviously, Cole Kmet just got re-signed. Robert Tonyan in the offseason just picked up Mercedes Lewis. Where do you see this group? And do you feel like Cole Kmet, and I'm on the record saying he could probably get into maybe a third team All-Pro just by looking at his impact when Justin Fields did take off last year? Where do you see that room panning out, especially with looking into what happened in the last 2.5 weeks?
Yeah, I think I think it's pretty cut and dry. Like, Kmet and Tonyan are your receiving tight ends, and they brought in Mercedes Lewis to help out, their tackles essentially. Like, they're going to help out Darnell Wright. They're going to help out, Braxton Jones if they can on the other side with chips and stuff, whatever. Yeah, I think Kmet has a lot of potential. To be honest, I wasn't a fan of the pick when it first happened. I thought he kind of got his career off to a slow start. He's admitted it, like, he's gotten better. He's worked on things. He wasn't at where he needed to be in his first couple of years. Then he kind of like breakout year with, a lot of touchdowns, and didn't have a lot of touchdowns, or vice, whatever it was. But yeah, I think he could break out. My only issue is, like, now they have Claypool, now they have Mooney, now they have Moore. So many weapons. Like, does his target share kind of go down? I don't think he'll take a step back, because I think he's talented. But if he doesn't, hit 650, 700 receiving yards, I don't think it's the end of the world as long as the rest of the offense is contributing, because they're just, might not be. There's only one football, so it might not just be the targets there. And Tonyan is a guy who can, be a target over the middle of the field. And I think it'll be kind of interesting how they work those two in. But yeah, maybe they get some other plan for Mercedes. But I think he's come here strictly to block, maybe catch, obviously catch a couple passes, but maybe to come in and help your young tackle there, Darnell Wright.
a good point. I like that.
I think, yeah, he's one of the best blocking tight ends in the league over the past couple seasons. So that'll help. But, me and Jaden, we did a little thing a couple episodes ago saying, our breakout players. We did Bears. So let me get 2 breakout players on the Bears offense and 2 breakout players on the Bears defense.
Yeah, let's go. I'll start offense first, and I'll say I think one of them would be – trying to go through it here. I think Claypool is going to be one of them just because of the narrative from last year, but I don't think that's surprising. I think Roshan's probably a good one to pick too. I think, like I said, I think he has a chance to really take over that, like the majority of the carries eventually. Other guys I might mention, Braxton Jones potentially, which would probably be a big benefit. I think Jenkins is probably already broken out a little bit.
I like Jenkins.
I think he can take his game to the next step too. Defensively, I'm trying to think. Man, they're going to be obvious because I think they're both pretty good already. And it's 2 guys I mentioned earlier. I think it's Connor Gordon and Jaquan Brisker. Like, I think Jaquan Brisker has like all-pro potential down the line. Maybe not right away this year, but like I think he could be an absolute stud safety in a couple of years. I think Kyler Gordon, like people look at it and like, oh, the Bears spent a 2nd-round pick on a slot corner. You look at the defense that they play in the NFL, like
no, that's not.
Nickel defense is pretty much your base almost now. Like it's not, but it almost is. Like you're playing a lot of nickel. So I think Kyler Gordon, I really liked what I saw from him last year. I mean, let's go back to that Green Bay game, week 2, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
Gave up 9 receptions, like 160 yards, 2 touchdowns. Aaron Rodgers, anytime he was on the field, I'm going right to him. The worst game he had after that was like Minnesota, 8 receptions, but they were putting Jefferson on him. Like they were picking on him again. After that, he was really good. I mean, he was really good as the year went on, and he did suffer an injury. But I think those 2 would be my 2 like full breakouts on the defense. Maybe Gervon's probably a good one to throw in there.
Mm-hmm.
Edmonds is already established, like Edwards is established, Eddie's established. So I'd go with them.
Yeah, I like those 2 picks. Kyler Gordon too. Like the start of the year slow. People, Bears social media was going crazy on him, saying he was a bust and was so weak. But I'm like, give him some time, let him develop. And later on in the year, he was playing at a high level.
His balance is insane. Like the way he can turn his body, man, that dude like can adjust, and it is crazy seeing that like in person. You're like, how did he turn around and like do that? And then like his interception celebration is pretty fun. Like the Spider-Man thing. I don't know if he can do it in a game. I don't know what the celebration rules are anymore. It's stupid. I think you should be able to celebrate whatever. His like Spider-Man thing is it's pretty. I hope he can do that in the game because it's pretty fun to watch.
I'm excited to see those 2. Him get some more in defense. The secondary, it's going to be a legit unit. I think they're going to be an underrated group.
I think the secondary could be their best unit. Like we saw last year, they gave up a lot of points, but like they got no pass. We talked about they got no pass rush, and
0.
The secondary's best friend is a good defensive line, and I think they could really take that next step this year.
So, rounding it out with the middle linebacker group, TJ Edwards, Tremont Edmonds. Obviously, we moved past Roquan Smith. He ended up, getting a bag with Baltimore. Hats off to him. But do you feel like now? I mean, it's still kind of early to tell, but you feel like that was the good decision?
Man, I liked Roquan. Like
he was a bear, man. Everything about him was a bear.
Exactly. Like he looked like just a badass Bears linebacker. He had the right attitude. He was a cool guy. Like nothing to complain about. I get why Ryan Poles moved on though. Like I guess Ryan just didn't think he was worth that money. Did they get it right? I don't know. I think Tremaine Edmonds is going to be really good. I think TJ Edwards is going to be really good. Edmonds has been hurt, though, which is a little – the Bears don't say they're worried about it. To me, I'm like, I don't know. I'm a little worried. But, like, Edmonds is already making an impact. Like, we talked to Field – the last time we talked to Fields, he said, like, yeah, there are times where, like, I think I got someone over the middle where Edmonds is at, and I have – there's, like, no throw window. because he's just such a large human being. Like a guy that size should not be that fast and like that agile at the linebacker position. It is crazy how big he is. But I think they'll be fine. I actually like Edmonds coming out of college because he was the same year as Roquan, and they're like the two top linebackers or considered two top linebackers.
Draft class was crazy. Fred Warner was in that too. Like all the top linebackers in that draft class.
Yeah, I think did Warner go second round or did he go first? He might have gone.
He went late. I think he was like in the
BYU.
Yeah, I think he went. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, no, that was a great class. But yeah, I do think like those two, Edwards and Edmonds, kind of fit what Ryan Poles and his defense want to do. They are going to be a nickel a lot, so it kind of takes away the Sewell or Jack Sanborn spot a little bit. But when they're out there, I'll be curious to see what they do with them. But I think they just connect well. They're two good veterans. They got experience. Like they both have been to conference championship games. One's been to a Super Bowl. They both have played in playoff games. They play at the highest level. They're coming from winning organization. Well, Buffalo's been a winning organization of late. Philadelphia has been a winning organization. So, yeah, I think they're perfect for this defense, especially like the secondary and not having a good defensive front. Like they're two good linebackers to have right there.
Can't wait to see them guys go after it.
Right.
And with Dexter, hopefully defensive line's improving too with Yannick. They're getting after the Bears offensive line, so maybe we're doing something right. I don't know. It's hard to be positive or which one to pick on that one. But we mentioned some great things about the Bears offensively and defensively. Let me get your record prediction for the Bears this year. Now I said 11-5. I said 11-5. Some people are like, "Hey, come on, 11-5 is crazy."
Man,
no, it would be 11-6. My fault.
Yeah, 11. Yeah, it'd be 11. I still mess that up.
Yeah. It's hard to get used to, but 11-6, I said. So I would be interested to see your record prediction for this team this year.
Man, if everything goes right, Fields takes the next step. I think they're getting 9-10 wins. Right now, after I've seen at training camp and everything, and I'm probably going to be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong. I think they're going to probably be somewhere like 7-10. What would it be? 7-10, 8-9. Right in that range. Yeah. Like I said though, they're in the right division. Like if they were in probably like the rest of the division, maybe besides one other one, they'd be the worst team almost, or third. The NFC West, they'd probably be third, second best. Second. No, they'd probably be third best. Depending on who you replace, but yeah, I don't know. I need to see more. Like they could change though. Like if I see more in training camp, or they come out really good against Green Bay, I that could change. I hope I'm wrong. But I think it's probably gonna be like 8 wins. I'd say.
Yeah. What about you, Jay? What you think?
Man, that kind of brought me down.
I was like, dang, I was feeling good about 11-6.
Well, I'm making you guys feel better. I don't think I've ever gotten a prediction right on a season record, except for last year. Last year I did say like they were going to win like 4 or 5 games, but that was the only time I've been right.
I think last year I said we was going to go like 10-7. I was wrong. Like week 4, as soon as we hit that rough patch, man. But it was tough because last year, 49ers game, you had a great victory. Yeah. Things were looking up. We thought we was going to do something.
They were 2-1 to start the year.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But looking at just other teams other than the Bears, give me one dark horse team. We can move off from the Bears. One team you think is going to win it all.
Win it all. Man, I think the AFC is so stacked. Like it's hard to pick a dark horse there.
Yeah.
I'd honestly, man, this would probably. I'm trying to think. I think it's going to be Dallas. I think Dallas has a chance.
Finally get
it. They just like everyone loves seeing them lose, like myself included. But like, I feel like we're just like saying dark horse. Like obviously Philadelphia's probably a contender. San Francisco's a contender. After that, man, there's like a drop off. I think the Cowboys are probably the third best team. I'm trying to think. Yeah, probably third best in that. In the NFC, I think another kind of weird prediction I have. I think that Tampa Bay might be a little better than people think. Like I don't think they're going to be. Like, I don't think they'll be like top 5 draft pick. I think they'll be like right at that, like outside the top 10, win like 6, 7 games. I have no idea who the hell is going to play quarterback. Yeah, I would tank, but I think their defense is too good at tank, and like they still have Mike Evans, So yeah, I think the Cowboys, I think, are a dark horse for me. I think they could. I honestly think they can win it all if it falls right. Probably their best scenario is like San Francisco or Philadelphia gets upset and they beat the other one in the conference championship game.
Right. For me, it's tough to pick them just because, I mean, how much the game has changed and how much control the quarterback has. It's like
you got to have one of the best quarterbacks.
And Dak is like, there's the games where he's like on fire, and there's like the games where like, what the heck is he doing? Like,
for other teams.
More often than not, it's what the heck is he doing type games almost.
Yeah, one last question.
One last question. Man, I think for me, been great having you on here. So I really appreciate you making time for us.
Anytime.
Outside of, like you mentioned, the Bears, there has been a lot of bets on Justin Fields to win MVP. And every day I get more and more inclined to make that bet. What are your thoughts on that? And we've kind of touched on it from a stats perspective: 3,200 yards passing, maybe 800, not so much 1,000. If he takes that next step, do you think he can be in the MVP conversation based on what you've seen in training camp?
I don't think it'd be this year. I do think like when we're looking at that bet, like everyone's like, okay, like it's just, everyone's being biased and stuff like that. I think there's there's value. That's why you're betting it, because there's value.
Right.
Like, you're going to win a lot of money if you bet on that. So I think that's, pretty much what a lot of people forget. And I think we're looking like realistically, if he wants to be an MVP, 2024, 25, if he does take that next step this year. I think for him to be MVP this year, man, we'd have to see like a crazy jump. Just because like it's pretty much Patrick Mahomes against the field. Like my personal pick, I think I'm picking Josh Allen to win an MVP. I'd probably throw money down on that. But yeah, I think Fields can get there eventually. I don't think it's going to happen this year, but I think if he could just build on this year, take some steps forward, I think next year we could really like be okay. Like this kid's got it.
Right.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's something that's encouraging.
Yeah.
It's better than the record prediction. We got good. We got MVP coming soon. But one last question. Now this is an interesting one. All right. So if you could fix any, bad moment in sports history, what would it be? When we did this, we said Derrick Rose, obviously one of the obvious choices.
Yeah.
Marshawn Lynch not getting the ball on the goal line against the Patriots Super Bowl. What is your pick?
So is this like a personal one for me, or is this like, do you want me to
do whatever you want? Yeah, personal or whatever.
Oh man.
That you lost sleep over.
Yeah, there's been so many of them. Like, I mean, man. So I'll give you. Let's see. I think Derrick Rose is a good one. I think the Bears in the Super Bowl. Like, I think the play where they lost Reggie Wayne, he was just streaking down the middle of the field, wide open for the touchdown. Jay Cutler getting hurt would be another good one. I think if I had, man, that's a good question. I think I would pick Jay Cutler.
Okay.
The injury in that game, the NFC Championship game, because I do think the Bears would have won that game. Okay. I do think they would have won that game. I do. There's another one that's kind of like lingering about me and you're talking about like getting no sleep. Was actually the national championship game between North Carolina and Kansas. I'm a North Carolina fan.
In North Carolina.
And at halftime, they were up 15 and just absolutely blew it. And I was like, what the heck is going on? And then they did miss the tournament. So I would have taken a national championship and missed the tournament the next year. And it would not have been as embarrassing. So, but yeah, locally, like Chicago, I would have done Jay Cutler, but like a personal one for me, I probably would have done one of the national championships they lost the last 6 years. So, Chris Jenkins broke my heart. Like that was a crazy shot. Like, yeah. But yeah, I think those would be pretty. But like the Derrick Rose one is like, I remember exactly where I was. I just like
heartbreaking. It affected his whole career. Moving on after that too.
It was just like I remember I was like at UIC's campus downtown, like in Chicago, and we're eating at a sandwich place. Me and my buddy, and the game was on. There's a bunch of people in there. It was like Lucky Sandwich Shop, and it just went quiet. And I'm like, everyone's like it was like someone died. It was so eerie, and we're like, that's not good. And yeah,
we could have at least got a chip with him. He was helpful.
I know, man. Like that would have been fun. Like I grew up through the Jordan years, but I only remember like the last 4, like the 93 one, I kind of remember, but like the last 3 they had, I remember. Since then, I'm like, I just want one more. Like, let me get one to experience.
It don't look like it's not coming anytime
soon. No.
I could go another 4 hours on that team.
But maybe for another episode. Yeah. But thank you so much for coming on, Zach. Yeah. We appreciate you. Stay updated with his content, Zack Pearson on Twitter. Follow up with him. He's updating all the practices for the Bears and any of the news. Like anytime I see Bears news, I go to your page and check.
Thanks, man.
Get the best updates.
But, I appreciate it. I enjoy your guys' show. Thank you so much for having me on. We'll have to do it again. Maybe we won't. Yeah, maybe not do it. Not 2 years, or it was like 2 years last time we did it.
But no, yeah, we'll definitely have to get you back on. Hopefully, during the season we have some great stuff to talk about. The next time we have you on, maybe Fields wins MVP. And we get that bet.
Yeah, I hope, man. That'd be awesome. They make my job a lot easier too. I love it a lot. I love it a lot more. No, I appreciate it, guys. Thank you again.
What's up, everybody? Got a great video for you guys today. I'm going to be breaking down the 2023 Chicago Bears schedule. I'm going to say if we're going to get the win or if we're going to get the loss. I'm just going to week by week